Yes, currently have a 3-bedroom property, and the council have decided that I'm under occupied, which means I have been forced to downsize, and I've lost my tenancy. I now have what they call a usage and occupy, and I have to go to a 1-bedroom property before I can even just get a new tenancy or decide to exchange myself. I find this absolutely appalling, and I'm being registered disabled. I find it very difficult to find a property adapted to my needs.
I've worked for 10 to 12 years in galvanising industry. I got ill. I had to make excuses, otherwise I'd lose my job through what I've got, the condition I get. I ended up losing my job, but there's no point in me losing my job anyway, because half the people down there lost their jobs through basic cuts, and they had to save money down there, so there's 2 shifts instead of 4 shifts now. Because of my illness, we lost our mobility, mobility car. The mobility car was a lifeline, a big lifeline, and I went 14 months without that, and I had to go to a tribunal, and the tribunal actually turned around, I think it took about 20 minutes, and they told me that it was disgusting and it shouldn't have happened. I'm due back in court in 2 weeks' time, and I've got to go for my ESA. Hopefully I'll win it. If I don't know what to do. The doctors at this place where you go to see people are just ridiculous. You have 15 minutes and they decide your future. I've got 4 children and a wife. We're £120 a week worse off, and we've got absolutely nothing. We have to borrow money from loan people to get by day. It's disgusting, absolutely disgusting. I don't know what else to say on the matter. It's just heartbreaking. And this ain't a plea to no one. This is just use your brains. Please use your brains. The cuts are hurting the people at the bottom.
I was given a ward of disability living allowance for life, but with the changes to replace it with personal independence payments, 20 years of case history has been eradicated. I have to start again from scratch and go through the humiliation of applying for support that I need. And the support isn't enough anyway, because the money that I get, even though it's the maximum I can get, it wouldn't cover cooking meals for myself, or for meals for me. It wouldn't cover somebody to clean the house for me. It doesn't cover, cleaning me. It doesn't cover taxes to get out of the house to where I want to go. And with these benefit cuts, I would be on even less. So how am I supposed to live? I mean, I already have to live with my mum because I can't live independently. What's supposed to be a personal independence payment would take away my independence even more.
Back again, and we'll just do one more there.
Well, the situation is that it's difficult to find work at the moment, and you send out loads of applications, you're lucky if you get a reply, it's usually negative, and very few interviews. I'd like to return to full-time employment because the benefits that you receive are not sufficient to live on, and you get into a desperate situation, you don't know what to do.
My husband had to go for an assessment, and she wasn't listening to what he was saying, basically. And then when the report came back, I read it, and I passed the comment to my husband, well, was I in the room with you when she assessed you? And he said, well, yes, why? I said, well, you read this report. I said, and I'm sure she's talking about somebody else. Certainly not you. So we put in appeal against it, and which we had to wait quite some weeks for. So therefore, our income has suddenly dropped again, because they're taking his money away from him. And then when we went into the appeal court, before we'd even sat down, we thought, well, yes, we've won this, because we're looking at a judge, a doctor, and they realise that they're being sent people that have been blatantly assessed incorrectly. And so from that we came out, we'd won the appeal, and he got his disability allowance back again. But we are now waiting for him to be assessed yet again under these new rules and regulations that are going on, and keeping our fingers crossed that we don't have to go through the same traumatic experience yet once again, because now he's obviously worse than he was when he went for his first assessment. But they don't look at you like that. You're not human beings, you're just a number that they want to get rid of if they possibly can.
Okay, so I've been missing Drake for about 2 years now, because obviously it's a hobby, it's something to do while I'm looking for work, because the work industry at the moment is really hard, it's really demotivational with so many people fighting for jobs and stuff. So this is why I've been doing this. I've been doing it for 2 years now. I've had a few offers to play out places, but for now I'm not physically ready to do that. But as you can see now, I'm doing a live mix for everybody, and I hope everyone enjoys it.
My experience as a businessman in Dudley, it is very hard really, economic-wise. Financially, people are struggling, and people are very depressed, and seem to be lost really in this Dudley. In Dudley at the moment, the town need revamp. It's in a bad state, and loads of pothole everywhere. Business at the moment is on a downer really.
One of the things that I'm really angry about, and the way the austerity is affecting me and my community, is the threat to closure of our local district hospital. I live in Brongsgrove, just a few miles from Dudley, and our hospital is the Alexandra Hospital in Redditch, and because the NHS has overspent massively on a private finance initiative deal, that means that the Worcester Royal Hospital has ended up costing £750 million, because there's this big gap in the finances of Worcestershire Hospitals NHS Trust. They are now saying they have to close at the Alexandra Hospital. This means that the A&E services and maternity services are threatened to be moved over 20 miles away, and it means this service is not accessible to the poorest and most vulnerable people in our community. And people are just not listening to us. We had over 60,000 people sign a petition calling for a rethink on the closure of the Alex, and basically the views of ordinary people are not being listened to by stealth through things like PFI and through new financial arrangements in the NHS. The National Health Service is being destroyed.
Bring back EMA, travel costs and equipment. Obviously I'm studying plastering at college. I need money for my tools for college, and obviously it's just another thing for my parents. My parents have been funding for me for 16 years of my life, and obviously I think it's time that I start to do things on my own back. And obviously I'm trying to go to college to get an education and get myself a career, but I can't do it because I've got no income. There's not enough jobs out there for 16, 17-year-olds. Most of the jobs you have to be 18, and there's just not enough jobs out there for 17-year-old people, and if you do get a job at 17, you're on national minimum wage, and it's just not enough.